Okay, welcome back to another video, everybody. Today, since it's the beginning of breeding season, or pretty much the beginning of breeding season, I thought I would show you guys how I would set up and how I did set up last year my baby chameleon geckos, or my Eurydactylodes. There's not a ton of information on them because they're one of the rarer geckos that you can get from New Caledonia, but they are becoming more and more common, so I'd like to start making a few videos on how to care for them. If you guys hear some background noise, which I have my mic on, so it shouldn't be too bad, but if you do hear some background noise, my dehumidifier, my air purifier, my AC, a bunch of things are running, but I have my mic on, so it should be good. So I had an escapee using this last time, but it was because my critter keeper, but it was because this lid kept popping up. One of the things was old and broke, so I ended up making it with this as well. So I'm going to show you guys two different ways to make it. If you use this one, which I'll tell you guys about in a minute, you've got to be a lot more careful because you can make it way too humid in here because there's only a few holes. Obviously, you guys can see the little holes, but you've got to be a lot more conscious of spraying with this one. So I'm going to show you the main one that I did last year, which is this one. By the way, these are all the supplies you need for 2 tanks, so it's not very much. But anyway, I would take one paper towel and I'd fold it into thirds roughly, like this. And then I take it and I put it in the bottom of the tank, so it covers the bottom like that. Obviously pretty self-explanatory. Then what I would do is I would take a piece of cork bark that's like this, like flatter and taller, not super big, but you guys can see what I was going for with some of these. This one I'm going to put in the other tank, but I'll show you that in a minute. So I would take one of the taller pieces so they could kind of climb and get up. I'd put it kind of like that in the tank to where they can go under it, they can climb on it, it can help them get stuck shed off. I actually would throw this underneath there, so I kind of put that right up along it. That way if they want to go behind and down here, they can go down there, or they can go on that, and then they can also climb up on here. Those two things are primarily to help get stuck shed off, because if you don't know this, Eurys, especially babies, lose a lot of toes. I, thank God, did not have mine lose any toes that I know of before I sold them, so that's great. The next thing I would do is add tiny little twigs or branches, nothing crazy. You just want to give them something to be able to climb around a little bit. One's probably too small, so let's just say those ones. So you're kind of giving them somewhere to crawl, somewhere to climb. Obviously they like to grip and their hands are very, very small, so you want to put as small twigs in there as possible, but if you can make a little X shape, I think that works great. You can then take a plant or two, or little pieces of a plant, and I can put those over there on this right side. You can, like I said, also put some plant on this side, so you guys can start to see kind of the main part of the tank. And then if you have your food and water dish, you can kind of just set it down there, put your food and water dish in there. So that is kind of the basics of how I would set up a Eurydactylodes tank, or a chameleon gecko tank that was a baby and just hatched out. It works very well. It's really easy to clean, really easy to replicate, and do it on a bigger scale. Now this is a very small critter keeper. I'm going to try to have a lot of these products tagged in the shop, or the little thing that pops up for you guys. I do get a small cutback on that, so if you guys do order anything, I will get a very small piece of that back. So thank you if you guys do order through there. But yeah, that's basically how I would do that for this one. Now let me show you how I do it on the other one, for the ones that are maybe a little bit too small, or they start to be an escape artist for you. Okay, now I'm going to show you this one. So for that one, I literally just take a paper towel, fold it in half, and set it down on the bottom like that. This is probably the 2 to 3 inch little deli or big deli cup. Usually you see like adult crested gecko sold in shows at these, or if you get them shipped in the mail. These are the large ones. Pretty big, but again, small enough for a Eury. That's like the perfect size. Like I said though, the only thing you've got to be conscious of is how much you spray, because you don't have an open top like this that dries out relatively quickly. You've got closed top, and then you've got a few holes. So I'll show you guys what I do for that in 1 second. Okay, so once I get the paper towel in, I want to give them something to hide under and get their shed off on, so I like putting this in there. I also, like I do with the other one, will add this gutter guard. And then I like to add, so after I add the gutter guard, after I add the cork that they can go under on, as well as climb on top of to get shed off, I like to add some branches. But again, you've got to make sure these branches are the right size because you don't want them to fall down when they're trying to climb. I don't remember which ones I used last in this one. I think it was these two. But something like that. Then you can add the food and water dish. And then like I said, I usually add a plant or two. You can add it, you know, on this side over here. You can add it on that side over there. But something like this would be great for a baby Eury. Something like that would be fantastic. And you've got your food and water dish and a plant. So what I would do is I would stay away from the cork and the wood, and I would spray, like if I've got my plants, let's say over in this corner. Let me move some of this stuff out of the way just to show you. Let's say I've got the plants over there in that corner. What I would do is put the water dish over there as well. So if I've got the plants over here, I would put the water dish on the same side, kind of away from the cork. Obviously you would fill up your water dish. But then for spraying, I'm not trying to spray the whole thing. I'm just trying to spray a little on the wall and a little bit on the plant. So it's only like maybe a third of the tank, and the paper towel is not soaking wet by any means. It's just a tiny bit, a little bit wet right there where I sprayed, but the rest is all dry. And I would highly recommend monitoring this very carefully because you do not want your gecko to be too wet. That can cause mold issues, respiratory issues. You don't want it. I would rather you spray twice a day very lightly than overspray once and have it be soaking wet. If you do make it soaking wet, just wipe out the paper towel, put a fresh one in, make that's nice and dry, and that's what I would do to recommend. But that's what I would recommend for you guys to do. I hope this video helps you guys. It was a nice, quick, easy video just to help people that are breeding Eurys for the first time and might not know some ideas that you can do to set up their tank for them. So I hope this helps you guys out a lot. Make sure you guys like, share, and subscribe. And I also wanted to say one thing. Now, really quickly before I end the video, I did want to say I am going live on Palm Street on Tuesday, this upcoming Tuesday, March 24th. I am so freaking excited. I cannot wait to show you guys some of the things I'm going to have available. I'll have some cornerstone geckos available, red spots, ink spots, oil spots, some babies that you guys can grow up and see how the Dalmatian trait works and see how kind of cool it is. Like I said, it's one of my favorite traits to have in crested geckos, so super excited for that. If you guys want to follow me on Palm, it's all linked on my channel. Also make sure you follow me on Instagram, follow me on Morph Market, and obviously subscribe to the channel if you like this video. Make sure you like, share, subscribe. I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.